Herbert Richard Baumeister. His characteristics were rape, murder, and urophilia. The number of his known victims is 11 to possibly more than 30. The dates of his known murders are between 1980 and 1996. His usual murder method was strangulation. The locations of his known crimes are Indiana and Ohio. In 1996, before he could be arrested, he committed suicide. Background: Herb Baumeister was born in Indianapolis on April 7, 1947. He was the oldest of 4 children. His father was anesthesiologist Dr. Herbert Eugene Baumeister. Baumeister's childhood was reportedly normal, but he began exhibiting antisocial behavior by the onset of adolescence. Friends later recalled his urophilia and how he used to ponder what it would be like to drink human urine. He also enjoyed urinating on teachers and school desks and playing with dead animals. In his teens, Baumeister's behavior caused his father to have him submit to mental examinations. He was subsequently diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia and antisocial personality disorder, but he did not receive further psychiatric treatment. In 1965, Baumeister attended Indiana University for a semester before dropping out, but returned in 1967. In 1972, he attended a semester at Butler University. As an adult, he drifted through a series of jobs, marked by a strong work ethic, but also by increasingly bizarre behavior. Baumeister married Juliana Satter in November 1971, a union that produced 3 children. Satter later said that they had been sexually intimate only 6 times in over 25 years of marriage, and that she never saw her husband nude. 6 months into the marriage, Baumeister was committed to a psychiatric hospital by his father for 2 months. His wife reportedly said he was hurting and needed help. Baumeister eventually founded the successful Save-A-Lot thrift store chain in Indianapolis in 1988. The Fox Hollow Farm Murders. In May 1988, Baumeister purchased Fox Hollow Farm, an 18-acre property built in 1978 off 156th Street and the Monon Trail in Westfield, Indiana. In 1994, Baumeister's son had been playing in the family's wooded backyard when he found a complete, partially buried human skeleton. Baumeister explained to his family that it had been one of his father's dissecting skeletons. He had it stored in their garage before eventually burying it again in the garden. On June 24, 1996, investigators recovered human bone fragments belonging to at least 11 people buried in the woods at Fox Hollow Farm. A new search on December 4, 2022, found 1 bone and identified 20 additional locations where more may have been buried. Only 10 victims whose killings were directly linked to Baumeister have been identified since the initial discovery. 3 sets of additional remains are still unidentified. Although they are all believed to be male and to have been victims of homicide, the Hamilton County Coroner's Office has appealed to the public, requesting anyone with missing family members from the mid-80s to the 1990s in the Indianapolis area to complete a DNA test in effort to help identify victims' remains. As of January 2024, forensic experts continue working in an effort to identify nearly 10,000 portions of human remains recovered from the unknown number of victims at the Fox Hollow Farm. John Lee Bayer, age 20, went missing on May 28, 1993. Jeffrey Allen Jones, age 31, went missing on July 6, 1993. Richard Douglas Hamilton Jr., age 20, went missing on July 31, 1993. Alan Lee Livingston, age 27, went missing on August 6, 1993. His remains were recovered in the initial search of the farm in 1996, but remained unidentified until October 2023. He was the first victim to be identified following Hamilton County's new effort to identify human remains. Daniel Thomas Holleran, age 21 or age 22, went missing sometime after March 1994. Identified in 2025 by forensic genetic genealogy. Stephen Sperlin Hell, age 28, went missing on April 1, 1994. Alan Wayne Broussard, age 28, went missing on June 6, 1994. Roger Allen Goodlett, age 33, went missing July 22, 1994. Michael Frederick Kern, age 45, last seen on March 31, 1995. Miguel Resendez, age 34, last seen at a gay bar in downtown Indianapolis on August 6, 1993, the same date that Livingston disappeared. In January 2024, the Hamilton County coroner announced the identification of remains recovered in 1996 from Fox Hollow Farm as belonging to Resendez. An additional victim authorities have publicly and posthumously linked to the unsolved disappearance of 34-year-old Jerry Williams Comer to Baumeister. Williams Comer was last seen in Indianapolis on August 8, 1995. After his disappearance, his vehicle was found at a Castleton Square mall. As a young gay man, Williams Comer fit the profile of Baumeister's victims, despite the fact that his remains were never recovered from Fox Hollow Farm. Identification, investigation, and death. By the early 1990s, investigators with the Marion County Sheriff's Department and the Indianapolis Police Department began investigating the disappearances of gay men of similar age, height, and weight in the Indianapolis area. In 1994, they were contacted by a man named Tony Harris, who claimed that a gay bar patron, calling himself Brian Smart, had likely killed Harris's friend, Roger Goodlett. Harris' suspicion was based on his own encounter with Smart, who had attempted to kill him in a pool house during an erotic asphyxiation session inside his mansion, after he had met him at the 501 Club, an Indianapolis gay bar. Harris eventually saw this man again in August 1995, following his car and writing down his license plate number. Upon identifying Brian Smart as Herb Baumeister, investigators informed him that he was a suspect in the disappearance and asked to search his house. Both Baumeister and his wife refused to allow a search of their property. By June 1996, however, Julie had become so frightened by her husband's erratic behavior that after filing for divorce, she consented to a search. The search of the estate was conducted while Baumeister was on vacation. It turned up the remains of 11 men, 8 of whom were identified. With a warrant out for his arrest, Baumeister fled to Ontario, where he committed suicide at Pinery Provincial Park on Lake Huron by shooting himself in the head with a .357 Magnum handgun. Baumeister left a 3-page suicide note written on yellow notepaper. He said that he regretted messing up the park. He also said that he felt badly about his broken marriage and failed business, but he did not mention the remains of the victims or admit to any crime. Baumeister described items on his trip, including his intention to kill himself in a different place, but seeing children there, he changed his mind. His final meal was a peanut butter sandwich. In April 1999, law enforcement also officially named Herb Baumeister as the prime suspect in the I-70 murders, and said that he was most likely the I-70 strangler. The I-70 murders. The I-70 Strangler is the nickname of an unidentified American serial killer who killed at least 11 young boys and adult men in Indiana and Ohio between June 1980 and October 1991, dumping their bodies along Interstate 70 where Indiana connects to Ohio. The killer met his victims in popular gay bars and other similar establishments within a 4-block radius in Indianapolis. All of the victims were later found naked or partially clothed near Interstate 70, often dumped in rivers, streams, and ditches in the rural countryside. Each had been strangled to death. On June 16, 1980, the body of 15-year-old Michael Sean Petrie was discovered naked in Hamilton County, Indiana. Petrie, who spent most of his time around Indianapolis gay bars, was reported missing on June 7th, but was observed 3 days later in different parts of the city, riding along in a stranger's car. The cause of his death was established as strangulation. On July 21, 1982, the topless corpse of 22-year-old Maurice Allen Taylor was found in Hamilton County's Weasel Creek. While his cause of death was not sufficiently established, law enforcement suspected that he had been strangled. On October 3, 1982, 14-year-old Delvoyd Lee Baker was found semi-nude near a river in Hamilton County. While investigating his death, authorities located witnesses who stated that Baker was last seen on the evening of October 2nd in downtown Indianapolis, climbing into a blue van driven by a young white man with a bushy mustache. Baker's parents told police that he had been riding his bike to the city on the night of his disappearance, from where he called home at 10:30 p.m. to inform them that he was going to be late because he wanted to go to the movies. It was later established that Baker had been cruising Indianapolis gay bars for the last 3 months and had been a victim of child sexual abuse. On May 28, 1983, 22-year-old Michael Andrew Riley disappeared after visiting the Vogue Theater, an Indianapolis nightclub. He was last seen with an unidentified man with whom he later left. In February 1998, an Indianapolis resident contacted the police and claimed that Herb Baumeister was the man last seen with Riley. Riley's nude body was later found in a ditch in Hancock County, southeast of Greenfield, on June 5th. The autopsy determined that he had been strangled, with the perpetrator likely using a towel. On May 7, 1985, 17-year-old Eric Allen Rotger vanished. His shirtless body was found a few days later near a stream in rural Preble County, Ohio, east of Lewisburg. According to his parents, Rotger was planning to attend interviews for a summer job on the day of his disappearance, but did not attend any of them. Witnesses claimed that they had seen Rotger at a bus stop in the early morning of March 7th, where he accepted a ride from a passing car. When found, Rotger had an apparent burn mark on his left shoulder and had been strangled with a rope. On August 15, 1986, the body of 29-year-old Michael Allen Glenn, wearing only his underwear, was found in a ditch near Eaton, Ohio. The exact date of his disappearance was not established. Strangulation marks, possibly from a rope, were found on his neck. He was identified 3 years later after his discovery with the help of fingerprinting. On October 15, 1987, at around 10 p.m., 21-year-old James Boyd Robbins Jr. went missing shortly after leaving his mother's home in Indianapolis. 2 days later, on October 17th, his naked corpse was found in a ditch in rural Shelby County, south of Gwenville. Witnesses claimed that they had seen a red Jeep Wrangler Renegade or a Chevrolet Blazer near the crime scene. On August 12, 1989, the body of 26-year-old Stephen Lynn Elliott, wearing only his underwear, was found in Preble County, Ohio. He had been strangled, presumably with a rope. On August 14, 1990, 32-year-old Clay Russell Boatman, a licensed practical nurse, disappeared after leaving his Richmond, Indiana apartment to visit Our Place, a local gay bar. His body, showing signs of strangulation, was later found in a ditch by a group of children near Eaton, Ohio. On September 6, 1990, 18-year-old Thomas Ray Clevenger Jr. vanished without a trace. His semi-nude corpse was later found at an abandoned railroad track near Greenville, Ohio. On August 6, 1991, the body of 42-year-old Otto Gary Becker was found in a ditch next to a gravel road in rural Henry County, Indiana. While investigating his murder, police identified several witnesses who claimed to have seen Becker in a car with another male driving north on Interstate 465 near Indianapolis. Though officially unsolved, law enforcement officially named Herb Baumeister as the prime suspect in the case in April 1999. According to investigators, bodies related to the Strangler case stopped being found in 1991 after Baumeister purchased Fox Hollow Farm, which he would use as the burial site for his subsequent victims. That brings Herb Baumeister's possible body count to at least over 30. He is believed to have committed more murders than the ones that are directly linked to him.